Hey guys, welcome to the Professional Development Podcast. This is episode 90. We're going to talk current events and we're going to shoot the shit. Sorry if I sound tired. I just got back from Vegas and I'm fucking just absolutely drained. You guys have been, haven't you?
I've been to Vegas. I've been over Halloween, which was pretty impressive because I've never seen like so many like nurses.
Actual nurses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actual nurses, like Disney princesses that were very, very attractive.
Real Disney princesses?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's one of the few times I've been out in Vegas. I've never been in Vegas like as like a party scene or anything. It was always like for racing or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, it's like I was on a layover flight after a bachelor party, and I just went out and stripped. I got myself food and then went back to the airport. So I'm going for the first time in July, so that should be fun.
Yeah.
I feel like Sal's going to have some great Instagram stories for when he's in Vegas of just like...
For sure. Oh, yeah. Because that's what it was out there. It's like I got in Thursday night and I dropped my bags and it was immediately to a club. We were out until like 3 o'clock in the morning, woke up at 7, golfed all day, went to the pool bar, went to dinner, went to another club. We're out till like 4 a.m. again, woke up, another pool party with a DJ. And then we went to dinner. And then I did the flight. My flight was 5:25 a.m. on Sunday.
Ooh.
So I literally went from the club to the airport and then just slept on the ride home, which wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah.
But I feel like my body's catching up from that for sure.
Yeah, me on the other hand, I'm going to my 5-year-old's preschool graduation and Matt's partying out in Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, we are not the same.
No.
Anything else you guys got going on in life, or you guys want to hop into topics? What do you got?
I mean, pretty chill week for me. I mean, I'm going to New Orleans for the first time tomorrow, so
Yeah.
I'll be driving down there. And then yesterday, watched the Blues game against Colorado. Bennington had an amazing performance with 51 saves, but we ended up losing in overtime 3-2.
Yeah. So I guess I will touch on this. I'm not going to get too much into it, but it's actually going to eventually, like our next episode, which is getting the most out of your employees, it's going to transition pretty nice with that. I've had a fuck of a month. What turned into a pretty bad month went to an absolute shit month in terms of business. And then one of the people on my team has been struggling a little bit in terms of like whatever. And so trying to figure out how I can like maximize his potential. And then another one who's been like my rock. She's fucking solid, just great at what she does. And I have been maximizing her potential, just put in her 2-week notice.
Oh.
And so a lot of change happening in the business, but we won't, like I said, we'll wait to get a little bit into that because I'm going to talk on the next episode. But otherwise, I really got nothing else unless you guys want to start hopping into some of the current events topics.
So I have something that's sort of exciting. Today, I went and walked a property that I've been kind of had my eye on for a little bit. Met with the realtor, met with the property owner. Everything's looking pretty good. Like I'm probably going to put an offer in on it. I'm not sure how quickly I'm going to build because there's not a building on the property. I talked to a developer friend of mine. He said, man, if you could wait like another year till next June or July, you could build pretty cheap, but I just don't have time to wait. So it's like a weird moment of like fear and excitement of like, okay, am I going to do this? Am I not going to do it? But it's trending towards I'm probably going to put an offer on a property here pretty soon.
So it's funny you actually mentioned that. Yeah, I guess I didn't even think to talk about this. It's the ball is rolling a little bit more for me on the real estate side. So 3 sectors that I'm going to be, I guess, focusing on in terms of real estate are going to be just building a rental real estate portfolio, which is like the really long term, right? You're not gonna become financially free real quick doing that stuff. And then the other one is going to be, I do want to look into fix and flip, which is like midterm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you find the place, fix it up, flip it, you will make a profit. And then I do want to look into the short term, which is wholesale. I've been looking into, and you and I kind of texted about this, like I know a bunch of people that own companies that do some type of work in like bettering up a home.
Yeah.
Whether it's landscaping, pool companies, whatever, roofing, plumbing, which is a really good referral source for finding off-market deals. So tomorrow, I'm actually going to view a first property that could be, I don't know, like I would look at it as a like a long-term rental portfolio, I do the BRRRR method, the buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and then repeat. So yeah, I've been looking a lot into real estate, and so that's something that I'm getting rolling too.
And something current event wise that I feel like kind of associates to what you're talking about is, these inflation numbers that are hitting, that's putting a toll with the Feds wanting to raise interest rates to try and to keep inflation down. But then just last Friday or Thursday, Jeff Bezos commented on a tweet about the disinformation board from Biden saying, like they wanted to basically raise corporate taxes, which is going to affect some of, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, these guys that are worth a lot of money. And Jeff Bezos just flat out and came, you need to, call up your disinformation board because obviously you don't know how economics works. He goes, by doing that, you're not going to cure the inflation at all. You're actually going to hurt the people that inflation hurts the most.
Yeah, well, that essentially, I saw like a short clip on it, which is from some economist from a long time ago. He's like, don't let the government tell you that inflation is anybody's fault besides the government. Because at the end of the day, the government controls the dollar, which I thought was pretty interesting. Obviously, there are other factors to play in it, but isn't that, I'm new to that area. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah,
like
basically,
the Fed
the reason why the inflation is so high is because we printed so much money in the course of the last 2 years with, all the stimulus packages that have come about because of COVID. So, obviously, doing that's not going to help. Which also, I just saw on the news on the way down here. Not to go too politics, but Mitt Romney, who kind of leans a little left on the Republican side of things, basically just said that there's throwing a bill in that is going to prevent Biden from being able to forgive any student loans, basically citing that there's so many students who either paid their loans correctly and are done with that, or have gone another route in education that didn't force them to take a student loan, and saying that it's just completely wrong to forgive those loans of people who already accepted them.
That's super interesting because I didn't see that. But speaking of Republicans, have you guys, the South Carolina Congressman, Madison Cawthorn, so the New York Times did an interview with him. I don't know if you guys saw this.
I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah. Basically, they were like, oh, so what's it like there? Is it like House of Cards, basically? And this guy, I don't have the exact quote on here, but I was reading over it. He said basically Washington is full of a bunch of 60 to 70-year-old dudes who like having orgies. Like that's it. Like he was just like, he's like literally like people in their 60s and 70s come up and say like, are you going to come, or like basically, are you going to come to our house for the sex party later?
Oh, man.
Yeah. And so, which is interesting to me. I don't know like what his exact role is and like how involved he is in whatever, but it's like this dude's like 25, 26. So to me, it's because he's saying that like he's obviously not attending, right? Because he wouldn't throw himself under the bus like that. So
and
kind of a nerd, right?
It's
kind of a dork.
Yeah, well, I think he's in a wheelchair.
Okay.
So
I take that back.
So it is ADA accessible, but no. I did also see about what you said, 67-year-old people. What's interesting is why is it that the people who are running the country are at an age where like you're normally seen as unfit to hold a normal job, essentially, where you're starting to retire, starting to move on. Why are we having those people be the ones that are leading the ship?
Yeah, why is it okay to be just fucking angry as shit every time you see somebody that's in their 60s or 70s driving a car?
Yeah.
But you're just perfectly fine with it if they're going to run the country and go with the rules. Yeah. What else do we got?
So how about to transition a little bit?
Okay.
We'll talk about Albert Pujols, St. Louis legend. He came in the other day. The Cardinals were whooping him like 15-2 or something, right? So they brought him in to pitch. And was it the very, very first pitch? I know it was the first batter. Just absolutely went yard on him, right?
Yeah, it was like a 3-run homer, and then he gave up another home run. But like that was his first time ever pitching, so that was pretty cool to watch.
And he's played every position except for 2 now, which I'm assuming one is catcher. I don't know what the other one is, but it's funny because Longoria, who he got out, I believe, right? Or got a hit off of, asked for the ball from Pujols.
He did.
So I think that's just hilarious. Like that you got a hit off of a first baseman or DH now, who's really a nobody at this point as far as a current like all-star,
Right.
who, Hall of Famer for sure, but be like, oh, I got to hit off him. I need that ball.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to watch. Just like to see him. And then I think earlier that night, it was Wainwright and Molina pitching. So their streak is continuing still too. So that was pretty cool to watch too.
Mm-hmm. So did you guys see that Walmart took a huge loss on profits in Q1 earnings? Which is super interesting to me because I was reading through this and it was like, so Walmart took a huge loss on profits in Q1, but retail in April increased for the 4th straight month.
Yeah, I saw that too, that retail spending was up in April, which kind of surprises me. I don't know if it's people getting tax returns back, maybe, if that helped part of it. But
it's a 4th straight month. Fourth
straight month
of increase in retail.
So that's definitely interesting. And I feel like Walmart's like, I don't know where their loss is, if it has to be coming from their supply chain issues, if there was a time where they weren't able to keep up the supply for the demand that they had. It's a shock to think that Walmart went down for sure.
I also just think it's, Americans are proving the stigma of us just being dumb, right? Like we're prioritizing retail over like actual food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a bit, I guess I will talk about this because just like the statistics are insane. So the Depp Heard thing, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, more people are interacting with news articles for those two on trial than abortion, inflation, Joe Biden, and Elon Musk. And because of like the news coverage of People and Us and the New York Post that's doing it, their traffic they can't prove it just because of that, but that's the biggest thing that people are tuning into. Their traffic has jumped 9%, 16%, and 22% in the last 3 months.
And I can literally talk to this because my wife is like fucking addicted to this trial. And I'm like, she tried having a conversation with me last night, and I was just like, I wasn't even listening because I'm like, I really could care less what is going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard or Turd or whatever her name is now. But I think that just does go to show you like how dumb we are as Americans, that like the thing that we're most wrapped around right now is two celebrities fighting over their divorce and what somebody said in a news article. Like to me, it just absolutely blows my mind. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. It's like, so I'm here for the Instagram clips that I see, right? Little caption explaining what's going on. We understand in this case, Johnny Depp's a good guy. Amber Heard's the bad guy, right? So it is funny, like seeing those clips. But yeah, I think it's like people are wasting their time. It's turned from like that to reality TV.
Yeah.
It's the, real world rules. I don't even know what the fuck people were watching The Bachelor.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Essentially, just with a courtroom and actual celebrities.
So what do you guys think about U.S. soccer agreeing for equal pay?
So what exactly did it mean? Because I saw the link. I didn't, but can you define it a little bit more by equal pay, what that means?
All right. So the reason why
I know why they're pushing for it. Like they've been pushing for it for a while.
Yeah.
I'm saying, are they going to make the exact same as the men?
They should. Personally, if they're succeeding, winning gold medals and stuff, they should be able to get paid the same amount as the guys. The guys aren't performing well. They're not winning the gold medals. So I understand why the girls are pushing for it. Because I think after they won the court case, they got paid $22 million, which is what the guys are getting paid for the losses that they had from after winning the cup in 2012, 2018 or something.
So also what I saw is that a part of the agreement is U.S. Soccer will share a portion of its broadcast partner and sponsorship revenue with a 50-50 split share that is equally divided between men's and women's. So I feel like that's probably that's where it's a little skewed. Like Sal said, the men's team's not performing as well as the women's team is, so maybe there is more people actually watching those games. So then they are going to end up splitting that money. To me, I go back to like the Ronda Rousey, who like is a woman who was one of the best in the UFC, who got paid very, very well. And like they asked her about like, how come, women aren't paid the same as men in UFC? And it's because the women don't put on the show. If you put on the show, you'll get paid. So that's the way I look at it. I feel like if you're bringing the most value, if you're bringing it, that's how you should be paid. It shouldn't be just because we're both playing the same exact sport that we should get paid the same amount, because I guarantee, even though the men may not be performing as well as the women, I guarantee that stadium is packed for every men's game versus a women's game.
That's the thing, and it just, for me, I don't know, like from a World Cup level, right? Like what type of like revenue is being brought in from each side, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, I know for a fact, if we're talking about just from like the professional sport level in the U.S., it's like any U.S. sport you look at, it's a packed house for the men, depending on the sport in the city or whatever. But like you look at the top and the top, right? It's all about advertising dollars. You know, that's what's generating the most revenue. It's, you know, you're filling the seats. Those seats are buying the merchandise. Those seats are eating up the advertisements, and then big advertisers are going to come in. They're going to pay a lot more money for that, so that there's more of a budget to distribute back out to the players. That's how I understand it is. And at the end of the day, it's about who's filling, like you said, who's filling the seats more.
Yeah, and I think that's the same way that's how it should be seen. But I feel like right now there's such a fight of, you know, what's right and what's right and what's wrong and what's wrong. So we'll see how that shakes out. Another thing I wanted to touch on is Elon Musk has basically come out and said this Twitter deal is on hold. He said that the SEC report from Twitter said that there was less than 5% of bots or fake accounts on Twitter. Elon Musk is looking that it's anywhere from 20 to 50% of fake accounts. So, and he said basically the CEO could not, you know, provide that information to show that it is less than 5%. It's on hold until then. And then Sal also had on here that there was a Twitter employee that was recorded, which I did see a little clip of this video, basically saying that they are censoring the right. So do you want to touch on that, Sal?
Yeah, so there was like a undercover video of like a Twitter employee that was talking about how what Elon's trying to do is like remove the censorship of the right. Because like, let's say like people are getting bullied and stuff. That's technically freedom of speech, but Twitter is censoring that and like pertaining more towards the left side. So I think what it's kind of difficult right now is what that guy was trying to say from Twitter, that with them censoring everything, they're not fully becoming like a freedom of speech type of company.
Yeah.
And then there was another article where it said that 23% of Elon Musk's followers are fake or spam accounts.
Yeah, and I saw that, and like I think it's just all relative. If there's 20 to 50% of the accounts on Twitter are a fake or a bot, then obviously one of the largest, you know, icons in the world is going to have that amount. And I feel like that'll probably be a talking point of, you know, the people who don't want to have you think that way is be like, oh, well, look, he's got all these fake followers. It's not like he didn't ask to have those fake followers. That's like with
every celebrity, though. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have like more of a funny one. So there's this TikToker. His name is Two Turned Tony.
Oh yeah.
He I guess he was big on TikTok. I think he's got like 13, 14 million followers on TikTok. He decided to make an OnlyFans page. And he used $20,000 to pay off his sister's student loans. Yeah. So he of course, in TikTok fashion, he made a video about it. It was actually pretty funny. So he like busts in the house. His mom starts yelling at him because I guess that's just like the thing that she does when he starts kicking the door down. He throws a bag of cash at her and said, "Your student." She goes, "What's that?" He goes, "This is your student loans, paid in full by my penis."
Yeah.
It was like,
and
she's like, "It's a little bit weird, but thank you."
Yeah. And then his mom goes like, "I really appreciate you doing that, but why don't you go buy a house of your own to live in?
Get your own fucking house." Yeah.
And what's also funny about that is I'm pretty sure his sister has made like a ton of money selling feet pics. Like I didn't know that's a thing, but apparently selling feet pics now is like big money. It's like the new OnlyFans.
I mean, it's probably just a subsector of OnlyFans, like a fetish. You know what I mean?
No, it's like feetpics.com or something. Like it's a real thing. So it's crazy.
I got a couple buddies that are into feet, like weirdly. Like Adam, you know Adam, yeah. our buddy Adam that we play volleyball with. It's like he could.
You just called him out now.
Yeah, it's fine. The world needs to know. So we'll literally like we're down in Florida, and he'll obviously there's a lot of attractive women down in Florida playing volleyball, and we'll walk up and a girl will be a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, just absolute smoke show, and then he'll be like, no, like he'll see her, look down at her feet, and be like, absolutely not. I
That's
can't do
hilarious.
It. Yeah.
True statement.
If you have like finger toes, I'm out.
Tingers?
Yeah, that's not happening with me.
No.
No.
So I know we got a few minutes. So there's something I want to talk about. So have you guys been hearing, and we've talked about this a little bit in the group text. Obviously, real estate's a very hot commodity right now and has been for some time. A lot of people are trying to say that there's going to be another housing market crash. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but I've been doing more research on it. And from what I see, it's like I don't think that there's actually going to be a housing crash. Well, first off, like from my understanding, what I was told, I was listening to a Bigger Pockets podcast, is like if people are sitting there telling you like there's 100% going to be a crash, there's going to be a crash, they're most likely trying to sell you something. Because every time there's a crash, like we don't know we're in a bubble until it actually bursts. But there's also people comparing it to 2008, and the market right now is nothing like 2008. Like we were saying in the group, in 2008 they would not stop. There was no demand, and there was oversupply, and they just kept building and building and building. And so nobody's foreclosing right now. So in 2008, 50% of mortgages were FHAs. So one, they were higher risk for the first-time home buyer loan. The other piece was when you have an FHA, you don't have a lot of equity in your house. So right now it's sitting at, what is it, 23 to 28% only FHAs. So people have a lot of equity in their house. So if anything took a downturn, it's like you could refi cash out. Like there's a lot of different options where you could get bailed out. Also, apparently, and I didn't even know this was a thing until a couple of months ago, these adjustable rate mortgages. Yeah. So there was up to 15 or 20% of the loans going out started out at this teaser interest rate, which was like 2 or 3%. And then basically they were saying like, okay, after that, like it could adjust based to the market. And then the market took a downturn and everybody got fucked. Like their interest rates were like tripling, quadrupling. And so people couldn't afford their mortgages. Another thing to look at in like housing crashes, again, when you're looking at like thinking of foreclosing or defaulting on loans, is the actual job market. There's still 2 jobs to every 1 person in the U.S. As long as there's as long as it's a candidate-driven market, people are not going to have issues getting jobs, meaning they're not going to have issues paying their mortgage. And then last, it's like from my understanding, it was like the wild, wild west back then. And there was like no laws on people on how they could actually, loan officers on who they could give a mortgage to. So there's all these, you've obviously bought a house. Sal, have you bought a house yet? So you have to go through fucking hoops to get like between credit check, your bank statements, like all this other shit that they have to look into, credit to debt ratio, whatever. Back then it was like, you literally had to have a social security card. They told a story about a cleaning lady who had 7 mortgages. She made $40,000 and they somehow approved her for 7 fucking mortgages. So completely different. Again, nobody can say for certain if there will be a crash or won't, but my opinion based off the things that we're seeing, it's like there's going to be some course correct, right? Prices will adjust. I think they'll probably go down about 5%, not in like California, not in those big ass markets, but like probably the mid markets. And you know, I think it'll, like I said, maybe go down about 5 to 10% at most, but I don't think we'll see a crash.
So the only thing that, I mean, I probably lean more towards, I think there's going to be something that's going to happen that's going to affect the housing market dramatically. And the only reason I think that is because everything is getting so expensive right now. Inflation's catching up with people. Gas prices, they're saying now that we could see them hitting $10 a gallon this summer. I mean, it's getting pretty out of hand. And if you start to think of, if people during this market, they battled for a house that they probably paid a little bit more than they really wanted to. They might have paid over asking for a house. And if they're already maybe stretched themselves a little too thin and now money starts getting tight, that's where I don't know what's going to happen. I think people might have to start downsizing. I think there might be deals for others who maybe waited. But then I also look at it like interest rates are going up. Like that's a no-brainer. It's happening. Mm-hmm. So, or what if they go down? You know, who knows? But the way to look at that is like, okay, if interest rates go up and you buy a house now, you look at it, you're like, oh, well, I got a rate at 5%. It's at 7 now. I got a deal. Or if interest rates go down to 3% again, then you're in 5 years, you can refi and you're like, oh, look at this. I got a good deal.
Right.
So the way I look at real estate has probably changed slightly. I feel like it doesn't matter. We're at the age where if you buy something now, in 30 years, you're going to make money off of it.
Yeah. If you look at any 20-year stretch, it's like it's eventually going to tick up. It's gonna trend up. It's like the stock market, right? You don't do real estate for the short term. You obviously can, right? But as if you're a wholesaler, you don't buy properties and hold on to them for 3 years at a time and expect to make a massive profit off them. But you did bring up a good point. It's like one of the big factors to look at when looking in is there a potential like housing market crash? Is inflation?
Yeah.
So that would lean us towards like there could be something drastic that could happen. But like I said, I think based off what I'm seeing, it could turn, but. Again, we don't know until we know.
I do think the people it will affect the most are like the people you're saying who are trying to do a quick flip.
Yeah.
I think they're the ones that could get bit in the ass very easily. Like if you don't have the capital to like ensure that, hey, if this doesn't sell, you might have a problem. But if you're somebody who's doing a buy and a hold or a rental deal for long term, I think you're totally safe.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not involved in real estate at all, but that's just an outside look of what I think. And interest rates, I actually had a theory on it that I had a little text with some people about, is that I personally think we're going to get to the point where they already backed away from, I think we talked about this in another podcast, they already backed down from their 75-point hike in June to they're saying it's going to be 50. I could see them maybe just trying to level off this interest rate thing and not really touch it for a little bit and maybe let it quiet down. So that's my only prediction on that, is I don't know if we're going to see some crazy big hikes anymore.
Sure. Cool. Well, we covered a lot today. We appreciate you guys listening in. Next episode is going to be on what we're doing to get the most out of your employees. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Follow us on every major platform. Follow us on social media. Subscribe on every major platform. Leave us a review. Sal, have you left us a review?
Not yet.
What the fuck?
Hey.